Thousands of new Epstein documents just dropped, and they come with a chilling disclaimer: CSAM not scanned. It means investigators acknowledge material so serious it can't be released. Even without it, what did make it public is deeply unsettling. Here are the most disturbing things from the latest document drop. When the Justice Department handed Fox News an early batch of Epstein files, they didn't start with timelines or legal records. They started with photos, and one image immediately stood out. Among hundreds of pictures was a shot of former President Bill Clinton, shirtless, lounging in what appears to be a hot tub. Out of hundreds of photos in the release, it's one of the most visually striking, and one of the least explanatory. Clinton's camp wasted no time responding. His spokesperson, Angel Urania, framed the inclusion as politically motivated, saying there's a clear divide between people who cut Epstein off before his crimes were exposed and those who didn't. According to Urania, Clinton falls firmly in the first category. Even those involved in running a massive trafficking operation need time for self-care. Several photos depict Epstein relaxing and enjoying a spa day. The most disturbing image is a close-up of his face covered in a noxious bile green mask. Numerous photographs capture lighthearted moments of Ghislaine Maxwell and Epstein. The former couple apparently enjoyed significant leisure time during their travels on his private jet. But the most peculiar image is a close-up showing Maxwell handling Epstein's feet, specifically pushing his toes into the front of her blouse. Victims have previously described a massage room inside Epstein's Manhattan townhouse, and the released images appear to support those accounts. Photos show shelves lined with massage oils and personal lubricants arranged in different containers and shapes. Another image reveals a drawer dedicated to adult devices. And at his Little St. James property, a powerful handheld massager is visible, left openly on a bathroom countertop. An unsettling detail given what survivors have described. Epstein also had a documented fascination with so-called race science, and one image quietly reinforces that. On a desk inside his Little St. James home sits a white phrenology bust, the kind associated with 19th century eugenics theories. It's the sort of object most people only encounter in history books, yet here it was displayed as decor. The townhouse itself was built in the 19th century, but most of its interior showed little interest in traditional Gilded Age luxury. One sitting room, however, leaned heavily into period styling. At first glance, it looks tasteful, until you notice the details. A taxidermied tiger posed at rest, and what appears to be a stuffed dog frozen mid-motion. The room feels less historic than quietly disturbing. Multiple rooms in both of Epstein's homes contained framed photographs of what appear to be young girls. Their faces are fully blacked out in the released images, strongly suggesting they are known victims. Beyond the framed photos, Epstein also kept scrapbooks, filled with images, collages, and artwork left behind by the girls themselves. While the document release contains no explicit illegal material, it still includes deeply troubling artwork involving children. Inside Epstein's townhouse stood a life-size bronze sculpture of a young boy placed on a stairwell landing. In a bedroom, investigators photographed a painting reminiscent of outsider art styles, depicting unclothed children at play. None of it is illegal, but all of it is deeply uncomfortable. U.S. lawmakers just released over 20,000 pages from Jeffrey Epstein's estate, and once again, big names from politics, media, and entertainment are scattered throughout. Beyond familiar mentions like Andrew Mountbatten Windsor, Donald Trump, and Steve Bannon, the new batch also brings several other figures back into focus, giving an even clearer sense of just how far Epstein's network reached. Let's start with Larry Summers. The documents include years of emails between Epstein and Summers, who served as Bill Clinton's Treasury Secretary and later became president of Harvard. Their connection wasn't a secret, but these exchanges reveal just how frequently Epstein tried to broker introductions or open doors for him. In 2018, Epstein even proposed arranging a meeting with the President of United Nations, calling him an interesting person for Summers. And when Trump won the 2016 election, Summers immediately told Epstein to spend zero effort on anything about me with Trump, insisting he wanted to stay a million miles away from what he expected would be chaos. Once the emails became public, Summers announced he would step back from his public commitments, though he would continue his teaching work.
Some of you will have seen my statement of regret, expressing my shame with respect to what I did in communication with Mr. Epstein. I've said that I'm going to step back from public activities for a time, but I think it's very important to fulfill my teaching obligations.
He resigned from the board of OpenAI and said he was deeply ashamed of staying in contact with Epstein. From there, the documents turned to Catherine Rumour. She served as White House counsel under Barack Obama, and her name appears in several email exchanges about the hush money payments Donald Trump made to Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. One of the messages ends with Epstein writing, "You see, I know how dirty Donald is." And those weren't the only messages between them. Back on September 19th, 2014, Rumour wrote to Epstein, "I'll be here all week. You may get sick of me." When she later commented, "Most girls do not have to worry about this crap," Epstein shot back, "Girls? Careful, I will renew an old habit." And considering what Epstein was ultimately exposed for, that line is chilling. Yet their conversations continued in the same light, familiar tone.
And I think that's pretty telling.
In a 2016 exchange, Epstein asked, "Do you think Bill Clinton would like to join you, me, Chud, and Steve? Could be very funny, all off the record." Rumour responded, while he might like to, his lawyer would advise him against it. Which naturally leads to a bigger question. What exactly were they planning? And why would Clinton's lawyer be so wary of it? As these emails resurfaced, Goldman Sachs, where Rumour now serves as general counsel, quickly distanced itself, stressing that all of this contact predated her time at the firm. Rumour, for her part, has said she regrets ever knowing Epstein. And at this point, doesn't everyone whose name shows up in these emails say the same? Another figure mentioned is Peter Thiel. His name showed up in earlier releases, but the newly revealed emails add more context. In 2018, Epstein invited Thiel to visit his private Caribbean island. Thiel's team says he never went. But do we really know if that's the full truth? Thiel later addressed their interactions on a 2024 podcast, saying he met Epstein a few times years earlier, but didn't ask enough questions about who he truly was. He even suggested Epstein knew a lot about taxes. Well, he also seemed to know a thing or two about breaking the law.
The question is really about, why was he so protected?
And maybe most surprising of all, you wouldn't have guessed it. The files include emails from Noam Chomsky. The 96-year-old linguist exchanged occasional emails with Epstein, mostly on academic or personal topics. But every now and then, their conversations would turn to Donald Trump. For example, in one 2016 message, Chomsky referenced Epstein's assessment of Trump, saying, "I notice your prediction was right about Trump avoiding the White House as far too primitive." Chomsky has previously said Epstein helped him move money between accounts legally and that their meetings were rare. But with Epstein, who really knows what was going on behind the scenes?